What's up, guys? It's Aspen. I'm a GC Valorant coach and initiator player, and welcome back to another guide video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Kayo on ASCENT. I was mainly a flash initiator during my time competing, and I think Kayo is turbo broken, especially on ASCENT, so I wanted to make a long form guide on all the essentials and macro tips to help you play Kayo better, whether it's ranked or if you're planning on competing. I do want to say this is going to be a longer guide than my last Gecko one, and I'm going to be more in depth, especially since I know Kayo a lot more, and especially on ASCENT, there's a lot more things to go over. And if you're new to the channel, I'm posting these initiator guides as much as I can, so if you want to learn about Valorant and want to improve, subscribe. You can keep up to date with all the videos and all the episodes in the series. But with that out of the way, let's get into the Kayo ASCENT guide. So to start everything off, let's talk about Kayo's role on the team. Kayo is a diverse flash initiator that can be used for pure support, but should also be mainly used as your second in player. Now, what do I mean by second in? Second in is the player that swings or entries behind your duelist, which on ASCENT should predominantly be Kayo. Although Kayo is a scaling initiator, he doesn't always have to be the second one in, so don't box yourself into that one role because it all depends on your game plan for the round and what your IGL's calling. Kayo is also a very good freestyle agent, meaning you don't always have to have super specific lineups. You can get used to the timing of your flashes and just dominate like that if you need to. It's very simple. Lastly, Kayo is an absolute powerhouse on attack and defense. Make sure you're communicating to your team and you're constantly being proactive with your utility to keep your team winning as far as the information game goes. And that's enough for Kayo's role. Let's get into the actual bulk of the guide. Since we always start off on defense in these videos, let's go ahead and talk about Kayo's defensive role before I show you guys some lineups. Alright, now as a Kayo main, I usually do play A on defense, but I'm going to start us out on B because B is a little more simple. When I'm on B, I just like to use this knife, just throw it right here in this corner. It's going to clear pretty much everything unless they're in this corner or backed up on B. It's a good one to use for early info. It's completely unbreakable and you'll get information. After that, I just like to play in this market area with my flashes specifically. Like, let's say I have a jet up or something. You can always throw this window flash one where you just look at the top here. And that's going to go ahead and pop right behind the window. So you throw that flash, your jet can take the fight, take the swing. That's just what I like to do on B. And again, this lineup, you just come up here to this and then look at the top of this building, the apex point here, and then left click. What that's going to do, it's going to blind in the window. It doesn't blind anyone that's coming to actually peek this, right? And so usually if I do throw this flash, I would also like palm up to my jet, like, hey, I'm going to throw this flash for you. Go and scale with it. Like if they have an op, flash pops, you know, walk down, check these angles, we get this deep offline established, and then with that deep offline established, we know they're not going to be anywhere up B main. We can play towards kind of this A and mid split area. Just small stuff like that on Kayo. Just make sure you're calming to your teammates and using your flashes wisely. I see a lot of people who play Kayo throw their flashes just aimlessly without purpose. Just make sure you're throwing things that actually impact the round. As far as B goes with Kayo, it's very simple. Like, you just want that kind of default utility. All you want to do on Kayo for defense is just make sure that you're either, if you're playing B, that you're pressuring B, and if you're playing A, you're pressuring A. You don't want them to get through this one way for free. That's why, you know, mainly Jett Flash Initiator will play on this A line while the Sentinel plays B. It's a lot easier to keep these players outside of A main. And when you keep the players outside of A main, they've got to expend util to, you know, re-clear it and make sure you're not in there. And making them expend this util, whether it's an A or B main to take it, is very good because the worst thing you can be up against as a defender is a full util dump, like side execute. You know, where the fucking Kayo is mauling this, flashing out the window, everything like that. Although I do recommend using the knife here, right? Please don't always spam your knife in this one area. It's fine to condition things, but it's not fine to condition things when you're not gonna like change it up. You can condition the knife in this area over and over again and make them, you know, wait up on B lobby, right? So if you throw this knife a lot, and the enemy's kind of reacting like, hey, they're throwing this knife a lot, let's wait for it. Then one round, you can do like a flash dash mid with Jett and catch them out on this deep line while people push up the main. Setting up trap plays like that, basically just change up your knife timing, right? You don't want to always be throwing your knife in the same spot at the same time of every round because then your enemies are just going to avoid it and it's going to be a useless piece of info. You're cycling your knife, you know what I mean? So instead of throwing it off rip like this, you know, maybe your Jett has an up and he holds the deep line, right? And then once your Jett gets pushed off the deep line, then you could either, you know, knife main, cancel their sight exec, or you can come in like market, maybe knife top mid, see if there's a player up there, knife tiles, anything like that. Just make sure you're switching it up so that the enemies don't like predict you consistently. If you're conditioning things for a certain play, it's fine. If not, then just make sure you're switching up your knife timings. And since we're already on B, I'm going to go over some retake stuff for you guys. B is really easy to retake on KO. What I like to do, right, if I have full util, immediately my first thought is to send a knife into B main, right? So when you're retaking, if you have a knife, use it in B main. A lot of players like to play in this little corner. A lot of players like to reflank B main, or re-lurk B main, I mean, when their team is playing on the site to protect the bomb. Because B main's a very powerful position to be in post plant, right? So by using the knife, you know, if they break it, you know someone's there. If they don't break it, and it scans someone, you know someone's there, and then you don't know if someone's there. If, you know, it doesn't get broken, doesn't get scanned, anything like that. For the retake as well, you don't have to have a specific knife lineup, right? It's pretty easy to get a lineup that'll land. What I usually do is I'll come like right about here. When you can see this lamp, and when you can get the lamp kind of close to this ledge, just aim at the lamp from like the middle part of this pathway, and that's gonna land up here. That's gonna scan all of Boathouse and even some of this like backside area. You don't need a specific, there is a specific lineup that goes through these things that it's like unbreakable, but you don't really need that realistically. And then a flash you guys can do, you can come up to this pillar. This is a flash for anyone that's kind of looking towards stairs or just open peeking, right? What you do is you just look in between these bricks right here, these two bricks right here in the middle to the left, and then you're just gonna run throw. What that's gonna do is that's gonna pop right about here. That's gonna blind anyone in these areas, anyone here, and then even anyone here that's holding the stair area. So what I like to do on retake, what I will do, I'll take this, I'll have maybe usually two people with me CT I'll call for. Run flash, that's gonna pop, they're gonna swing, knife B main, right? Get that info in B main, because a lot of the time, when you're scaling this site back on the retake, the B main player won't be playing for that, right? The B main player doesn't want to hear you flash and then immediately swing like this and swing into both of these angles, right? So the reason I throw the flash and then the knife is just so we get that info before, because once we get to about like this point on the scaling, this little line here, when the people are out market, when logs is cleared and they're starting to clear like this, right? That is the kind of point where we need to know if someone's B main, because a lot of the time the B main player will play like this, off angle, maybe here, maybe here, maybe here, maybe here, or they'll just hide all together, wait for their team, and then if the spike gets tapped, they'll walk out like this and then walk towards the plant position, whether it's like here, anything like that. And then a molly for market to cancel plant, one I like to do, you just come in the middle here, right? And then up here, there's gonna be this line of gray. You literally just look at that and then run through your molly. And that's gonna bounce off the wall and land perfectly on this dice. You don't have to use it to deny plant. You can use it just in a general retake scenario, right? And then combined with that molly, you can use this flash. You go up into this kind of corner right here. And then you're gonna line up the bottom part of your little flash thing like this, right? You're gonna bring it up like that, so it lines up right kind of above where this building is. You just line it up like that, and then you run through it. And so that one lands literally right behind this wall. It's not gonna clear this guy, but if you have people scaling a lane with your util, it'll blind like this, they'll be able to fight. The guy in the molly, when he's mollied off like this, if he's in this position, he's got to swing left or he's got to swing right. So if he swings right, you know, and he doesn't turn this flash, he's full blind in this area. This kills him for you guys, and that's some pretty easy kills. So all together, you know, you could throw the knife here, get the info, right? Come in the middle, run through the molly over here, and then do that. Right? And of course, like, it takes time to get used to like moving into lineup into another lineup, right? And throwing those consistently, but practice it and it'll make it like very good for your retake. And that's pretty much all I have to say for B. I'm gonna go over some mid stuff now for KO. Like I said, the knife thing, you can always knife top cat, you can always knife in tiles. And you know, this signature KO jett flash dash tiles, this is the lineup for that. You just go into here, and then right here on the edge of this like brown paint thing, literally right here, you just left click it, and that's gonna pop right behind this wall. So you throw that, your jett dashes up, and then anyone here is blind, you know, they take the fight, right? You kind of primarily see that on ecos, but you can do it any round really. Honestly, in ranked, it works a lot better than you'd think. So we're gonna go over A now, right? The Blazehead classify A as like playing close and then playing back on KO, so I'm gonna go over that individually. A lot of the time when you're on KO, you don't want your knife to be easily breakable, right? So I see a lot of people in rank that they'll throw like this one, right? And that's gonna land up there, but any team is gonna be able to be here, see the knife, and just shoot it, right? Like, majority of people are gonna be able to shoot that knife. And so you want to be able to do ones that are unbreakable. I'll show you guys one for when you're playing the more passive role. But this is the one, if you're going to play close aim main with your jett or anything, tell your omen to one way and then just throw this knife, right? Like, I know on the map it gets like way less, like the other knife reaches like back here, but the difference in info is so minimal when you can just guarantee that the knife is going to scan. Right? You don't want it to be, even if it gets more info, if it goes off, you just don't want it to be breakable, because anyone with a brain is just going to be able to shoot that knife, right? It's not going to give you any value whatsoever. So yeah, overall, just throw this one, right? And then call for a one way, and then after you throw that, you can sit here, you can hold this one way, with you or your jett. If you and your jett are both playing close, you could be like, hey, jett, I'm flashing whenever they're walking or we hear noise, right? And so when you hear noise, pop the reverse flash, fight with your jett like that, right? You want to throw util a main because we want them to reclear it, right? We want them to expend util in a main to get it back. We don't want to just give it to them for free. And when it comes to a main, there's a lot of things you could do. You can call for your omen to come here and then flash up and then have your jett kind of dash here, and then you with your jett, you guys can double like fight this, right? When the omen flashes it. And then you can also, if they're playing really passive on A, like if you condition them to play passive, right? You can say, fuck the one way, and then you can tell your jett, hey, I've got a flash for you, just go run at them. You can just chuck a flash like that. That's gonna bounce off the wall, pop like here, right? And that's gonna get anyone playing backwards waiting for your knife or anything like that if they start to play passive. And that's all pretty much for playing close. I'm gonna show you guys an unbreakable knife right now for when you're playing kind of passive in the site. You literally just line up the top of your knife with this gray thing on the door here, and then when you throw that, it's gonna go all the way up in the air. It's gonna come down and it's gonna land right here, right? So this is totally unbreakable, but that's an unbreakable knife for you guys to use there. That's the one I like to use. And then a good passive flash here for KO is you come here on this box, and then up here you'll see this it's kind of like blue when you're just looking at it like this, right? So at the blue thing, you literally just go and then you aim a little to the right like that. And so that pops right here. This is good for anyone swinging a main. So usually on pistol, I'll be like, hey jett, I have a flash for you. Calm to me when you hear footsteps or when you hear noise. And so when the jett hears noise, he calls, flash pops behind him, he can swing right with it and fight. That's a good flash I like to use. Very powerful, especially for fighting a man. And then with that flash, you can combo it with this molly I'm going to show you guys. You just aim in the middle of these two rocks up here in the sky. Left click, come over here. That's going to land. You left click the flash. Off of that, this clears the entire cubby here. And you want to timing it so that your flash is going to pop when the molly kind of like lands or does like one pump of landing already, right? So throw the molly, it goes off, flash goes off. Anyone that's in there has to move out here into the flash. So it's a good combo to use, especially if you want to refight a man. It's one I like to do a lot. And like as KO, you can play dice for sure. Like this is a very strong spot for KO. You can do a lot of things, even if it's just like an up and over flash. And then you can also, you pretty much get molly from anywhere here, right? So obviously that didn't run enough for that one. So just make sure you're running quite a bit. You can get the molly off. You can, if you have a smoke, jiggle, wait for util when they throw util, molly. Anything like that, right? That's pretty much like all it is for A defense, just like the regular shit, right? And then for tree, just gonna go over this one quickly because I don't feel like it's a super complicated space. Tree's a very valuable piece of map control, right? So you always want to kind of keep tree. And as KO, if I don't hear anything main and there's pressure towards like B mid, I'll play tree and I'll sit here and I'll literally have my molly out, just jiggle and wait. Right? And then, like, if I hear them, I'll call for a smoke. As soon as there's any util through the smoke, boom. Throw the knife. Or, not the knife, the fucking nade. Throw the nade. It's gonna land here. It's gonna get anyone. And then from tree, like, there's a lot of stuff you can throw here. If you go in the corner, aim at this leaf, like, right here in the middle of these two leaves, and throw that. This is a knife that goes all the way from tree and lands on B main. It's unbreakable, and it clears it literally every single time. right? So when I throw that, I get a lot of like 3-4 scans. Pretty good knife. And then the same thing, if you're here, you can literally, you don't have to have a specific lineup. You can literally just, you can just freestyle flashes like that through tree, through this like little window. Like you can freestyle flashes like this, and then with that, that'll blind anyone on cat. Like if you have a jett that wants to play cat, you know, hey Kayo, flash mid for me. You know, throw the mid flash. You can fight anyone open peeking that area. And that's pretty much what I like to do on cat and tree. Another thing you can do is if they're playing here, and if you ever get stuck into these positions when you're like getting forced out of the forced out of tree and like play back in garden, right? Don't be afraid to play like these spots. Like there's a lot of self flashes you can do. Just get used to this right click pop time, swinging with it, right? Swing, pop, swing. You want to pop like, you want to swing like right when it pops. So here, pop, swing like that, right? So those flashes are very powerful. Make sure you get used to the right click timing. That's pretty much all you need to know as far as like defense goes, majoritarily on this map, at least for Kayo. Alright, now firstly on attack, coming straight here, I want to talk about some lineups for taking. What I like to do especially is sit back here, aim at this corner of the roof, right, and then just flash left click like that. This won't blind anyone on your team. Blinds right here. It's gonna get anyone in these positions staring at main, allows you to swing even through the one way. And then a knife you guys can do is literally come here in this corner, and then pretty much, sorry, it's hard to line this one up. Pretty much anywhere. There is a specific lineup where you line up your dash up the HUD with this, like this. And you can throw that one, but pretty much anything kind of in this vicinity works for aim. So don't feel like you're boxed out. This knife is literally just, these knives are literally just to clear out this and then to clear out wine if someone's snuck there, right? So you can throw that knife, you can combo with the flash, just as long as your knife is clearing wine and A main, especially if you're like not hitting or not taking A main space off of the barrier drop. That's very good info that you can have. Otherwise, if you come here, you can also molly wine. Like if you don't have a knife and you're like very scared of someone could be in it, if you don't want to walk clear it, that works as well. All right, now after you have already taken a main, you can freestyle flashes from pretty much anywhere. There's a specific lineup I'll show you for this. You come in the corner and you line up your HUD with that light on the corner there, this light, and then that blinds all the way up here. It's gonna get anyone, you know, open in these areas. That's a good entry flash. I know it sounds stupid for me to say that you don't need lineups, but you can freestyle flash, like just like that, just flashing high. This blinds like every single thing. Like truly, if you wanted to scale, like let's just say you want to like scale quick, right? Boom, flash, pops, another flash, and then once you get to like this point, let's say you want to go really quick, you throw like a flash over, and then once you get here, literally the perfect knife for anything in heaven, you literally just aim at the top of this pillar, take a few steps, and then just throw your molly like that. And that'll get anything out in the peak heaven. It's so easy and it's so simple and it just works every single time. All you do is aim at the top and then you just take a few steps. That's all this. Take a few steps. It's gonna land, right? And so that's pretty much how you throw your util to exec for A. That's pretty much all the good util for execing A, but I will show you guys a molly lineup for in the back gen. You come over here in this corner, and then you'll see the two spikes sticking up that like every Sova uses. And then you just go in the middle, take that, left click it. That's gonna soar through the air, boom, bounce off that, and it's gonna get anything in the back gen area. Makes your take a lot easier if you don't want to use the heaven molly. And then for that back dice area, from the same exact spot we did the last molly, you come here, and then on this spike, you just aim like at the tip of it. And all you have to do is left click. Nothing special, this one will just land back dice like this, and it'll, you know, get anything back dice. They'll be forced to peek you here. You can combo that with one of our flashes, like this. I'll come over here, you know, throw that, wait, be like, hey, team, are you scaling? Boom. Flash, that goes down, they're pushed into the flash, your team dashes out, gets the free kill, or just peeks, gets free kill. Shit like that. Very, very, it take very easy. It take very, very easy. Alright, and then from tiles, this is one I like to throw for market. You just come in this corner, With the barrier, it makes it like a lot easier and the lineup's more consistent. But over here, you'll see this group of 4 like bricks together. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then under the 4th one is where you put the line right there on the HUD in that corner. And that's gonna go through the air, boom, 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 and then it's gonna come down. And it lands here, but if you have the barrier, the lineup that I showed you, it'll always land there. I'm just kind of too lazy with barriers. So with that, you can get a lot of info on market. Like especially like with market, a lot of KJs like to play here. You know, a lot of floaters like to play here. Jett might be looking like this with an op. Just making sure that your knife hits market and getting that scan info is very important. And then from tiles, you don't even have to peek. You can literally just come like anywhere on the staircase and then just jump there like this. And then that'll be one that lands on the wall and tree. That'll clear this tree angle for you guys. Make sure there's like non-opposite there, and make sure that if anyone's in tree, you know, they're getting scanned by something that's unbreakable unless they're guys. Right, now if your plan is to scale mid, right, like let's say you have a smoke cat, you can come here in this corner on this doorway, and then if you aim where this like line crosses into this, and then hold out your flash and just left click it, that's going to go all the way down and it's going to flash right beyond this. It's not going to blind anyone. Once you flash that, then you guys can fight like this. And if you don't want to throw that one, because it kind of is in the open if it's on smoke, you can just come over here, and then if you aim like at this bottom thing and then you run and throw, that's going to be one that bounces off and it'll flash here, and then none of your team will get flashed. It's just a safer flash from it if you want to fight like up in the market area. And before I switch to like tree scaling, if your tiles, there's a molly right here. There's like a curve in the cloud. When you get to this point, not this point, this point, you can left click a molly from here, and that will fall all the way down and it'll get the market walkout, right? So if you're playing KO from like a distant position, or you're going for a fight mid and you're not like with your team, this is a molly that can help. Just a, you know, unique lineup to know and memorize. And then for tree, what I like to do mainly is like once we get up to here, you can throw any sort of flash. Like if you have no teammates tiles, right, and you're like planning this, just make sure you throw a flash here, right? Doesn't have to be like a lineup one. Just throw a flash here to get them off at this angle, because realistically people can just be holding this for your catwalk up. Most of the time they probably won't be, or they won't like care too much about it, but you can just throw literally like any flash, right? All of them are pretty much good. And then when you get here, come up into this corner before your team scales in, say like, hey, I have a flash, and then right between this half line, this line, just right in the middle there, do it correctly. Like that one, it'll pop right here. It'll get anyone that's peeking, right? So throw that, your team scales in, smoke this, molly this if you need to, and then scale out this way. You can throw a flash over like that, and then that's gonna blind up, and then you can scale out like that towards anything on A. B main, pretty easy knife here is you just come in the corner, and then right here in this archway, left click. It's gonna be a knife that lands on top of here. It's not unbreakable, but it is harder to break, and that's gonna scan anyone here, anyone playing in lever, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Stairs as well. To combo with that knife, I'll go in this corner. From here, you count 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how I always remember it. And then you just look like a little above, like that, and then you left click. This is going to be a molly that lands in market. Anyone on the walkout here. And then from that molly, I'll come here. You line up with the green part of the molly in your HUD. And then like this. As so. And then you run throw. And that's going to go out here. And that's going to pop right here. It's going to get anyone lane. And even like back in bow house, and then anyone kind of in market or logs holding your team's push out, right? So if we were to combo all of this utility, it would probably be here, and then this, and then boom, just like that. And that's a util combo you could do. When this nade goes off, you're basically flashing anyone that's out of the nade, you know, position here off of the angle for your team. And then another molly and flashlight I like to throw. It's closer in B main, it's not that far back. On the spec in the wall, if you just aim at it and then pull out your molly, and then you kind of like run throw it like this, that's gonna soar over, and that's gonna get this stairs area. And so I'll come over here and I'll throw that, and then I'll throw this flash. And that flash, it's like, you don't need a specific lineup. You literally just aim in the middle of these two bars, like right above in the gray. Not the gray, but the tan area. And then you left click it. And that pops right here. It gets, once that molly's down, if they swing out towards CT, they're gonna get blinded by the flash here. Anyone that's holding this, anyone that's in logs, and anyone that's in market, it's gonna blind. That is technically a better flash than the lean ones. That's why I do it a lot. But I just want to make sure you guys know both. Overall, attack is like very freestyly. Like once you're in B main, you can literally just chuck flashes like this and chuck a nade like that, and then you're kind of out, right? It's truly not hard to play KO. You can have lineups for specific things. Just make sure if you're gonna use lineups and use like set things that you've created, that you're communicating it with your team correctly. Overall, I think that's pretty much it for the basics of attack and defense as far as like KO goes. Honestly, like I'm looking at my recording right now and it's hitting like an hour, so I'm gonna cut this down into as little as I can. I might end up making these videos like two-parters, like attack and defense split up. Not really sure right now. But yeah, I'll have another video out soon as I can, possibly. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. But yeah, that's gonna conclude our KO guide on ASCENT. I just want to thank all of you for the feedback I received on my last video. Once again, if you guys want to see a specific agent on a specific map, leave it in the comments below and I'll get around to it. And if you have any further questions, you can always DM me on Twitter or Discord. Both are in the descriptions below. I do enjoy giving people help no matter what, so just reach out to me there if you have any questions. Yeah, thank you guys for watching.